We are starting now with our meeting. Good morning, good evening, Chair.
Good evening, Chairman.
You can hear me, ne?
Yes, Chair, can you hear me?
We're done now. It's NSOP.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Good evening, honorable members. We're starting the meeting. NSOP. Today's meeting is one agenda. One, we are going to deliberate on the work that we have done for the past days. Last week, when we adjourned our meeting, we've agreed that today we are going to deliberate on the candidates that we have interviewed. If you remember, honorable members, we interviewed 29 candidates. One candidate did not show up for the interview. So we are going to look at the work that we have done, and we want to put a proposal that we have crafted a spreadsheet honorable members who are on visual. I hope they've received the spreadsheet. Chair, have you received the spreadsheet? Honorable Masio, did you receive the spreadsheet?
Yes, Honorable Chair, I received the spreadsheet.
Chairperson, did you receive the spreadsheet?
Yes, Chair, I did receive the spreadsheet.
Honorable Chabeleng, did you receive the spreadsheet?
No, not as yet. I'm checking now. When was it sent?
Eliso. Oh, Nomvula.
On what platform?
Oh, Nomvula have sent it right now. If you can check your emails, you will receive an email from Nomvula Chiba.
All right, let me open my email.
Yeah, just tell us whether you got it or not, ne, Honorable Chabeling?
Yeah, I'm only seeing an agenda.
Oh.
That is what I've just received from Nelly. So.
Okay, Nomvula is gonna send it to you now. She's double checking emails.
Chairperson, did all the other members receive the
Now I
Sorry?
always have problems getting my documents.
Did
Even
all
when
the
we're
other
in
members
even
receive
when we're in
the
Kempton Park, Chair, there had been I think there's something wrong with my, I don't know. I always get my documents very late. So.
They are trying to send it to you. It's okay, you'll receive it. Honorable Malika, did you receive the spreadsheet?
Yes, Chairperson, I did.
Okay, thank you very much, honorable members. Kashifa, are you on?
Yes, Chair, I'm on.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, we have this spreadsheet. The spreadsheet has got all our names. So what is going to happen is that I want all honorable members to look at the spreadsheet. Do you have it? Okay, Nelisa. Okay, Nelisa will give you the spreadsheet. And then you are going to receive 2 copies. I'm hoping that Chair, they've sent you 2 copies. The other copy is different from the spreadsheet. But this one is completely wrong. This one is wrong. What is going? Or what? How are we going to write the code? You'll get it. So it's nice. That's like it. Make a presentation so that you can explain to honorable members on what is it that you are going to do.
Thank you, Chairperson. Can we just get an indication from Mr. Chabaleng whether he's received the document via email before I proceed, Chair? Thank you. Chairperson,
Yes.
can we just check with Mr. Chabaleng whether he was able to receive the document via email now before I continue? Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I've just received it now. I'm opening the document.
Okay.
And the thing is, you see, I can't print because I'm using a phone and I don't have a laptop.
Okay.
Yeah, so sure.
Honorable Chabaleng have received the spreadsheet, so you can continue.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good evening, candidates. Along with codes on the first column, which is on the left-hand side. And the request is that when members indicate who their proposed candidates are, they would use the codes as indicated on the left-hand side, and then the Secretariat would document for each member what the codes are for the persons they have put forward in terms of the candidates. So no candidates' names or CV numbers would be indicated tonight. Members would be using the codes on the far left-hand side. So I'll hand over to Chair now for an indication as to when that will start. Thank you.
I want you to also present the second one. The second, yes.
So yes, so once members we have gone through for each and every member an indication by code who you have put forward as your nominations. The Secretariat will look at calculating for each of the nominations how many they received, and we will collate in ranking order who the candidates who received the most nominations. So you would receive at the end of having everyone noted who they had proposed, the candidates from who received the most to who received the least. So Chair would give an indication now as to the number each member would propose. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I get comments from members? I take it that you have read the spreadsheet. Honorable Masigo.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think that the information that is given is noted. I hear that we only use the codes and not the names that we have before us, and also the CV numbers that we had previously. We are not going to use those. We'll only use the numbers. So it's noted, Chairperson, and we shall do as such. Thank you, Chair.
Any different view? Okay, thank you very much. That means we're agreeing. I think the other proposal is members must we must agree that out of the 29 candidates, how many nominations are we going to do today? Obviously, members during the interviews, you were writing how candidates were responding to the questions, and you have already checked by now that in terms of the performance of the candidates, which candidates you as members have scored as the best of the best according to the list. So with that one, at least we are done. But I think what we need to agree on, we have 7 vacancies. There are only 7 vacancies, but there was a proposal to say that it's either we shortlist only 7 candidates and recommend them to Parliament, or we shortlist extra candidates, maybe 9 or 10, so that if it happens that with the 7 candidates that we have shortlisted, some of them decline the nomination, the recommendation, or the appointment, then the next candidate on the list comes in. I'll make an example. For instance, if we shortlist 7 candidates and then 10 candidates or 9 candidates, meaning will be having the first 7 as per the preferred priority. And then we'll have 2 candidates who are left if we are shortlisting 9. And then if it happens, 1 person resigns or declines nomination or appointment, then the next candidate on the list comes in. We don't go and advertise again and go through the same process that we went through now. If you remember also, after the resignation of other board members, some of them, they went to parliament. The board was no longer cooperating. So there were only 2 board members, 3, is it 3 or how many board members were left? There were 3 board members who were left. And then the other one, I think, also resigned or what? I'm not sure. And then the board members that were left now, the board couldn't cooperate anymore. So it was a problem, and for the board to take decisions. And until their term of office lapsed. And in terms of the act was not giving us a provision to appoint an interim board. So that also became another challenge for the board. So, but if we are going to shortlist 10 people, then that will mean the first 7 will go in and the 3 will remain on the list as reserves. If I may put, I'm putting it right or correct. They will remain as reserves on the list, so that if there's any candidate who resigns or any reason that will make the board not to have a full complement board, then the next candidate will come in. We will not advertise for 1 position, but the next candidate will come in. This is one proposal that we want to make to honorable members. But I think at the end of the day, we are going to put our candidates according to preference and priority, and then we'll go like that. But this one is a proposal to honorable members. We want to hear from you. Which one do we take?
Chair.
Honorable Masigo.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I am looking at the option of 10. I think one would have really looked at it as a best option. Should it have provided the option of us being able for it being able to provide the necessary option, in fact, of saying that if a member is resigning or maybe declining the nomination, then we can take from it. But history has taught us, Honorable Chairperson, that in the last board, the list that was taken to the president had 12 candidates. And from those 12 candidates, he appointed 7. And we then were faced with the situation whereby, with the resignation of the members, last year, most of them having gone to parliament, we could not fill those positions, and the option of getting the rest of the members that were not appointed from the list that had remained the previous time, we could not fill with those members. So, Chair, we also know that the Act also, as you had mentioned, does not really make a provision for the reserves. So I think one would ordinarily go for the 7, because even if we are having those remaining 3 members, then history has taught us that they will really be there, but should members resign, then they will not necessarily, it won't be automatic that they will become, members of the board. Thanks, Chair.
Let's double check with the staff, Honorable Masiko. Hemen.
Thanks, Chair. I'm trying to recall because whether there were 10, but I recall there was one guy who resigned, and it almost took like the board operated with 6 members for almost 2 years after he resigned. I don't recall the 12 that were recommended. In my recollection, I think they recommended 7 because at that time, the NYDA was under the Portfolio Committee, Public Service Administration, Monitoring and Evaluation. Okay, man, okay, let me check into the act. Yeah, into the, man, if, man, on that one, let me check the act.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think I will support the suggestion that you made of us maybe having a reserve, not disputing what Honorable Masiko was saying. But I think if we have a reserve, the president will have at least a pool of people to can appoint for the board members. Because if we just take only 7 of them, what if can happen that somebody from those 7, before the appointment gets greener pastures and decline the appointment? So it will mean that we still have to go back and do the interviews to can fill up the position. But if we have got a reserve, at least if you can have 10 names, so the reserve will be only 3. So I just want to second the proposal of having the reserve. Thank you, Chair.
Dr. Tembe.
I just wanted to highlight the issue of of the Act, which says, especially Section 9(9) of the NYDA Act, it says a member appointed to fill a vacancy holds office for the unexpired portion of the term of the member he or she replaces. I think then the committee can have extra beside the 7. I'll also make a practical example which has happened on the process which I was involved on PANSALP. So last year in February, the fourth administration appointed members of the board. In terms of the PANSALP Act, they are supposed to, the board should be between 11 and not more than 15. So the members appointed, recommended 15 to the Minister of Arts, Sports, Arts and Culture, but the Minister decided to appoint, it was 13 and 2 were on reserves. Then this year, starting from last year in December and now in June, 2 members resigned. Then last week, whilst we're doing this process of interviews, then the minister decided to actually recall those members from the reserves and made those 2 appointments. So there was no need for another process. That is, the appointment were done in February, then the resignation started happening in December and June. And now this is what happened. Actually, the letter was received, it was dated 24 of last week whilst we were here doing the process. It's what happened in PANSAP. That's a practical example. So to be on the safe side, I think that's amenable.
Chairperson, I've raised my hand. Chairperson.
My hand
Chairperson, I
is
did
raised
raise
also,
my hand.
Chairperson. My hand is up in Chavelin.
And mine and Chaveling's hand was raised. Chairperson, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, Chair, you can speak.
Okay, because I thought maybe you.
And Honorable Chaveleng will follow you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I've listened to our legal advisor, and I've also listened to Member Maseko. Now, Member Maseko has raised a point about the NYDA Act, and the NYDA Act only makes provision for 7, and those members of the board will be appointed by the president. And our legal advisor didn't elaborate on the NYDA Act, but he used another example. I want the legal advisor to advise us on the NYDA Act and the processes of the NYDA, because what Member Maseko was raising is that we were in a dilemma when we came into this administration, that we were sitting with 2 little members of the NYDA board that are still there. And then one of the members of the board also passed on, and we had to start this process. Now I want to get to the bottom of this. Can we ask the legal advisor to advise us on the NYDA Act and what we're supposed to do? Because I'm a bit confused now after he used another department to explain the situation to us. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Honorable Chabeleng, before
Yeah,
our Dr. Tembe.
Thanks, Chairperson. I think this is enough for the hypothesis. The reasons for the reserve are more than enough. I think that a suggestion was made and then it's seconded. If it's not, I'm seconding it, that we have a reserve of 3 so that we actually recommend 10 people. That is the suggestion. I think let us stop motivating why we should do it, because I think the reasons are just more than enough, unless if somebody is against it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. May all honorable members switch on their videos because we are live. So South Africans want to see your faces when you speak. Remember our process is live on 408 YouTube, Facebook. I don't know whether it Twitter. Honorable Mpiti, is it on? All the okay. So yeah, honorable members must switch on their cameras. Okay, Dr. Tembe. May you please read the act so that you can be guided correctly, because I think the confusion is actually
in the NYDA Act, the section which deals with appointment and composition is in section 9. So basically, the starting point is section 9.2. We say members must be appointed by the president on the recommendation of parliament. Then it says that the procedure which members must be appointed in a manner ensuring participation by the youth in the nomination process, transparency and openness. That short list of candidates is published. Then this is what has happened in this particular case. But if you go down that section, I think it's section 9 of the Act. It says a member appointed to fill a vacancy holds office for the unexpired portion of the term of the member he or she replaces. So the NYDA Act is almost similar to a provision in the CGE, which also says, just bear with me, Chair, I'm just trying to open this section. Just bear with me. There's another section which I wanted to quote it verbatim, so I'm trying to check the section, but it also says a member who, especially section 4(6) of the CGA Act, it says, then the president may, in consultation with the commission, appoint a part-time member as a full-time member for the unexpired portion of that part-time member's term of office. So with CGE, there is actually conversion because they are full-time and part-time. So if somebody converts from being a part-time to a full-time, so to replace a full-time commissioner, so then in that instance, then the member occupies the position of the person that he or she replaces. So similarly, I think the NYDA Act is also drafted similar because it also says here in section 9, a member appointed to fill a vacancy holds office for the unexpired portion of the term of the member he or she replaces. This it's up to the committee to decide, because once it decides and the report is adopted by the House, it becomes the committee resolution that should any of the members who were recommended resign or something happens before the appointment is done, maybe let's say for a better of the worst case scenario, let's say somebody dies before the appointment is done, then which means if you had recommended 7, that means then now the process had to start afresh. So it's better to be on the safe side. It's just a proactive approach. It's not that it is stipulated in the Act. So then, so that the committee can motivate that in case this the worst case scenario happens, somebody resigns or somebody dies, then you can actually retrieve from the reserves. So that is my submission, Chair.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Let me close this matter. For as long as the Act is not clear on what needs to be done, the Act does not speak, the NYDA Act does not speak on the reserves. And remember, the powers of appointments lies with the president. So it does not give that leeway of us having the reserves. So Dr. Tempe, whatever examples she is using, is not using the examples or explaining or defining what is stipulated in the Act. So we are going to shortlist 7, and that's it. The matter now is closed. We are continuing because when I was listening to Dr. Tembe, he was also using the CGE Act, and the CGE Act, it talks about commissioners. So, you know, this thing of assumptions and whatever, it confuses us. And we don't want to be litigated unnecessarily. So the best thing is for us to stick to the 7 members that the Act is speaking about. So we are going to shortlist, to nominate and recommend only 7 names, honorable members. If in a case whereby there's death, there's resignation or whatsoever, or declination by any member, that means then the subcommittee will have to re-advertise and go through the same process that we went through. And unfortunately now that responsibility lies with our committee and the select portfolio committee, select committee in the NCOP. So let's leave it like that. Let's shortlist 7 candidates for our safety. It's a good exercise that we propose things and we get advice, but where we see that the advice is not conducive for us and it will lead us to some litigation of the work of the committee being challenged, we must avoid such situation. So let's stick to the 7 and that's it. Thank you very much. The matter is closed now. We are shortlisting. We are going to nominate the final 7 candidates and then submit them to the House. And then from the House will then vote and then and adopt our report, and then after the speaker will send our report to the president. So thank you very much honorable members. Okay, let's go Sihlabele Mapalini. I take it that now you have your spreadsheet. Your spreadsheet, it has got alphabets. So in each and every name, there's a code, which is an alphabet on the side. Please, honorable members, don't send out the information that we gave you now because we are busy. And then some people, I see some people are writing to us that please send us the codes. No, we don't do that. So the codes are meant for us to deal with the work so that we conclude nicely without any interference. And there is no member of parliament from outside who is going to direct or tell us, Ketanobani, Ketanobani. We are the ones who were dealing with our interviews. So here we've got members of parliament who are honorable, credible, who have integrity. And our work is like that. So we don't want any confusion from outside. Thank you very much, honorable members. We can now, that means members are going to nominate nominator 10, and then we take the 7. What do you think? What do you suggest? Ma'am Kaula?
Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair. Mina bengicabanga ukuthi asinominate 10 okwamanje sibesuke sesibona ukuthi
okay. Any different view? Your hand is up.
Yes,
Mine is up.
Okay. Okay.
Chairperson, Chairperson.
Yes, I was just checking the logistics of doing that because some of us don't have access to printers and stuff this time. And I don't have a laptop, I'm using a phone, using only one.
It's fine. What you are going to do, you are going to look at that spreadsheet by now, and then we'll give you, we'll give members at least a few minutes so that you can go through the list that they have sent to you and read the alphabets, the codes on the site, and then you can see in Taten Chabele the code on the site, and then the names of the candidates there. So what you are going to do, you will write your own candidate, the preferred candidates according to your priority, and then after that, our staff members will then consolidate all what you are going to, all the names and all the codes that you are gonna nominate, and then after their consolidation, we'll wait for them to finalize, and then they will give us the final product. So Nomvula and Neliswa and Kashifa, they are responsible for that. We as honorable members are going to nominate the 10 names, and then they know how do we do it, and then they will tell us, and then we look at the common names. They know the common names. They, they rank them accordingly. They know how to do it. Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, we just agreed in this committee now that we will have 7 names that will be recommended to Parliament. So I want please to make a recommendation that every member must nominate is 7 names, because I can't see why we must nominate 10 names if we're only going to give a
we are
report
done
to
with
Parliament. Sorry, Chairperson, can I be protected, please? I think I've got the right to speak and I've got the right to be clarified in this meeting.
Because
this is a democratic process, and if I am not comfortable, I must be clear. Will you please protect me, Chairperson?
Protected, Honorable Chair.
And this,
I was speaking aloud. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Forgive me. Sorry. It was not my intention.
Thank you, Chairperson. My thing is, Chairperson, if I go out of this meeting tonight and we go out of this meeting with a report, I want to be comfortable with the report. And I'm always saying this through the whole process. We must protect this process, and we must not allow any loopholes. Already, Chairperson, there was a lot of people were scrutinizing and still are scrutinizing this process. So please allow me, if I want to be comfortable with the process that I'm part of. Now, the reason why I'm saying this, Chairperson, if we agree, we just agreed that this committee will only recommend 7 names. I will not be comfortable, Chairperson, if we must recommend 7 names, that every member must then propose 10 names. I think, Chairperson, a very fair process so that all of us are also protected will be that every member read his 7 names according to the codes. The staff will take that and the staff will come back and say, out of the members of the subcommittee, there is now 30 names that has been proposed, and the 7 names with the most nominations will be the 7 that this committee will take into a report to Parliament. Thank you, Chairperson. I hope I clarify myself.
Honorable Mpiti.
Thank you, Chairperson, for the opportunity. My view that I'd like to present is of a different one from what has been proposed. Looking at the spreadsheet that we've been given, it's my understanding that we are to score or present the scoring that honorable members have made during the interviews. And so I would just like to understand that when you say we must nominate 7 individuals, what has happened to the scoring? Are we not going to give our scoring in the process for it to be calculated? Or are we just nominating 7 individuals on the basis of what? A question. Thank you.
Chair, did you hear the question that Honorable Mpiti have raised?
Chairperson, I've heard the question that the Honorable Member has raised, and I believe, Chairperson, that every single member of the subcommittee has made his own scoring. And I have made my 7 names up according to my scoring. And I think, Chairperson, that is how the process must be protected. Because my scoring, I did. And I believe all other members did make the scoring.
Chair, so what I'm not understanding from what Honorable Gillian has just said is that we are to, according to what she has said, to nominate 7 people who have received the highest scoring from our own. But then I don't think that's fair if we are not going to be able to give scoring for all candidates so that our scores are noted for each candidate as we put them down. Because if we only give scoring for 7 candidates, then the other scores fall away. And how then do we calculate the total number of scores for all honorable members to all candidates? Because if we're only giving 7, what happens to other candidates? Because I don't feel that would be fair. So if we have interviewed 29 candidates, I believe that all honorable members should give 29 scores for all candidates so that they can be calculated at the end so that we have a total that will then give us the top 7 of that 29 of candidates. I think that's a fair process.
Chairperson, will you allow me to clarify now?
You can speak, Chair.
Thank you. Chairperson, I think that all of us had our score sheets in front of us. We did our scoring. We score each and every candidate. Now, I can see the rationale in the debate of member MPT. Because what we must do is to provide all our score sheets to the administration so that it can be kept on a record. Now, all of us, this is what I did, and I thought maybe everybody did that. Out of your total scoring of the 29 candidates, you then scored your candidate, and then you made your short list according to your scoring, which means out of 29, you take your first 7 or your first 10, and that is the people that you, tonight in this meeting, that is the names that you will bring forward. But your administration as a member doing your scoring, the score sheets then have to be submitted to the administration to keep on file. So each and every member must still submit their score sheets. It is your scoring that you are taking into the process now for the candidates that you think that has made the best impression, criteria that we put as a committee to the front. And then out of that 29, you have 7 candidates or 10 candidates. And then submit your score sheets to administration still. Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson.
Chair, can I come back here?
Clarify.
Chair, so what I wanted to clarify here with what Honorable Gillian has said is that we have received a spreadsheet as honorable members. The spreadsheet indicates the code of all 29 candidates. The spreadsheet also indicates all members who sat on the subcommittee, and there are columns that have been made on the spreadsheet for us to present our scores for each candidate. So I do not understand why Honorable Gillian is now saying that we must leave the spreadsheet that has been given to us and only nominate 7 candidates, when the spreadsheet in front of us requires us to give a score for each candidate that presented themselves in the subcommittee. And therefore, that requires all honorable members to score all 29 candidates in order for a total score to be made at the end. I do not think it's fair in the process for honorable members to only nominate 7 candidates when we had 29 presented in front of us. I'm only saying this, Chair, for the integrity of this process. And so if honorable members feel that they want to continue in the manner that has been put forward by Honorable Gillian, that is fine. But I think for me, it will be something that I will note as an objection, because it will not be a fair process to all the candidates that were presented in front of us. They all need to be scored, and the scores need to be written down and codified. I think that is a fair process. Thank you.
Honorable Masiko.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I really don't hear any fundamental differences in what Honorable Gillian and Honorable Mpiti are saying. The bottom line is that our scores need to be submitted to administration for capturing. But practically, Honorable Chairperson, I don't think it will be practical for us as this subcommittee to call all the scores from the first candidate to the 29th candidate on this platform. The difference between the two submissions is that we only call in terms of the scorings that we have done, we only call from the 1st to the 7th, because I think that is what we will be recommending. But the bottom line in terms of the scoring, everything needs to be submitted to administration for capturing, because the report that we will be sending, which is the final report, will capture all the scores from the first candidate to the 29th candidate of all the members in terms of the scorings that we have done throughout the interview processes. Thanks, Chair.
That is my understanding. That it's true that we have interviewed 29 candidates. But in terms of our scoring of each candidate, you take the 7 candidates which have scored more out of the 29 candidates. Honorable Mpiti. We are working on the 7. We have scored all the candidates. If your candidates boy 29, but only 15, that means boy 29. Uzobabiza bonke abakho bathole 15 boy 29. But ke angazizobafaka kuphi boy 29, because thina la sifuna abantu about 20 about 7. Scoring sabo bonke, it's there. Administration is gonna deal with adding the scoring for each and every candidate. If I call my 7 candidates and give scoring my 7 candidates, Mkawula ukipa usho abake about 7, and then I give a SA scoring about 7. Wonke umuntu now ukhipha usho abakho about 7. What the staff is going to do is to consolidate all the numbers and get the highest scored candidates. That will be our final 7. That is my understanding. Yeah.
Chair, so I hear the points that you are making together with Honorable Gillian. And the reason why I'm proposing this is because Honorable Gillian has already said that this process has been scrutinized. And now if we are going to take this approach where we are not 100% transparent in the process by ensuring that all the scores are being made clear in this process of all 29 candidates, then unfortunately, then the process becomes troublesome. It becomes non-transparent if we're only going to name 7 instead of the full amount of candidates that were interviewed in this process. And so that is the reason why I'm saying.
Honorable members, I'll give honorable members a few minutes so that you are able to present all your 29 candidates according to the scores. And then our administration will then consolidate. What is that now? So that and then our staff members will then give us the final product of a addition of all the scores. Anish, that's what you want. We are all agreeing. Good. If we're talking, yeah, Honorable Mkweba.
Thank you, Honorable Chairs, and good evening, members. I thought that because there is a discussion, in fact, there are 2 different views in the meeting. Because Dr. Tembe also is here, must always guide us so that we don't do things that are so that we do things illegally. Now that one Honorable Mauricia Gillion has raised an issue that this process itself is being scrutinized by the people of South Africa and especially the youth of South Africa. For example, now I'm online on Facebook. Some they are talking, and now that in fact in a meeting when there are 2 different views, the legal advisor must come in and help us as a committee so that we don't do things that are wrong on behalf of the people of South Africa. Dr. Tembe must assist us. If this, because you know, I might have my own Lantika views in terms of this Lantika sheet, because the same issue that has been raised by Honorable Mpiti is the same thing that I thought, because remember, colleagues, we've got these documents. What are we gonna do with these scores that we have done for the whole week last week? But obvious, we are not experts. There's a legal advisor within ourselves must assist us, because now that there are 2 different views, so that we don't do things that are not correct. Because at the end of the day, this thing make us unpopular out in, you know, across the country if we're doing things that are not free and fair. Mr. Tembe must help us about what is the right process in terms of the scoring. Are we allowed to only score the 7 people, or are we allowed to write all these candidates according to what we have done last week? So I will wait for you, Dr. Tembe, as a legal advisor of Parliament, to help us so that we don't do things that are against the law.
So I close the matter, Honorable Weber. I said, honorable members, yes, we have agreed. Let's give the staff members to consolidate our scores. Finish and start.
Yes, Chair.
You've got this spreadsheet. You've got this spreadsheet, and then write your scores in the spreadsheet for each candidate, and let's give our administrative staff to consolidate our information. Finish and start. Visual.
Chairperson, I'm just saying.
Yes, Chair. Yes, we score all the candidates.
Yeah, score all the candidates in your spreadsheet. But but you've got it electronically, you can still put your scores
email back.
electronically.
Yes. So,
And
Chair,
then
the question
you
is,
email them to.
we email or we call them out here. What do we do?
Sorry?
Do we email them or we call them here on the virtual platform?
You email them to Kashifa.
Okay.
Okay, Chair, let us do it.
Chairperson,
Yebo.
Yeah.
Chairperson, can I raise something?
Yebo.
My score sheets are not with me.
Yeah, we do have your score sheets.
Okay. And then how am I going to do
you
it?
want us to send your score sheets?
Yes, so please, if that is possible.
They are going to scan them to you, ne?
Okay, thanks.
They are going to scan them to you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chairperson. Hayi awuzondibona, I'm not with you kaloku ndikwama endlini.
Oh, hey, sorry. Honorable Baka.
Kunjani isihlalo?
Siyaphila ntwana baba.
Sikhona niyasibetha kodwa man. Because kaloku thina siphuma kwenye intlanganiso yemini yonke. And sizongena kule meeting straight from that one. Umama uGillion akakafiki endlini usestratweni kulaa ndawo akuyo emotweni because she wants to be there. But the thing is, we want to do things the way esifuna ngakhona sonke. We want the process to be a process that we are able to own in the end. And in so doing, we want to do things the right and the acceptable way from those that are expecting the outcomes from this thing. Now, I'm sitting with a challenge here.
Okay.
I have a list of what I've written in terms of the numbers of people and and who's this and who's that. But then I have something else now, which is the new thing that I got today and a few hours ago with the numbers, where we are not going to put the names and stuff. And out of that,
no, the names are there.
Kaloku mamela Chairperson, sungamela. Now I have that list and I must transfer ndikhangela uba ndizawubhala phi ndithini for ukhuphela yonke le nto. Uyayibona le nto ndiyitshoyo uba injani. But it's fine. It is bona uba masiyenze kanjani, but I'm just saying ukuthi to some of us, including ubaba uGillion, I mean unatsika ubaba uNchabeleni, challenge anayo is the same as mine. But sizawubona ukuthi siyenza kanjani because we must do it. But yasibetha kancinci.
Andinanto efanayo noNchabeleni.
No, Chairperson, anyone who was in the MCOP only had a 30 minutes break.
Exactly.
Now and that meeting. And as we started in a meeting, I went in other meetings from 8 o'clock. And like I'm saying that I'm only using one gadget, which is a phone. I don't have my laptop on me, and that I don't even have a printer. So it means if I'm to print what I have, I need to call somebody and wake them up and then send them this thing so that they can print and bring them to me. I don't know what time will that be. Yeah, and generally it's the human brain can only concentrate for this long. And going further than this, Chairperson, it's really tough for. I don't know if it's only for me, but I guess those who were in the meeting of the NCOP from this morning until now, around 8 o'clock, will understand that it's really tough. One may want to play very strong and all that, but ultimately I need to apply my mind to this. And with this exhaustion, Chairperson, yeah. And we're expected to be connecting again first thing tomorrow morning at 9 again. So
Thank you, Chair. Ngicaba ngithethe isixhosa mhlawumbe ukhona umuntu ozantolikela.
the same family
Urulile Chair, nga-advise so that singabi ne-confusion ukuthi Dr. Tembe legally because my worry is that some of the honorable members, they're on visual, and I can tell you the process then is very, very long for these comrades, especially that some of them, they can't make copies. That's number one. Two, they can't do anything. That's why before ruling yakho Chair, with due respect, whether there are two views from Honorable Mpiti and Mamu Mauritius, Mamu Gillion, but Dr. Tembe asked her into confidence as a legal advisor. It's important that Dr. Tembe assist us so that at the end of the day, it then responds to what has been raised by honorable members that are online, that can make copies now. It's during the night, it's already 10 o'clock, Chair. And undermining ruling yako, Chair, that you must do what Honorable Mpiti said. But I'm trying to be honest that at least a personal legal advisor that will tell us, as a subcommittee, whatever views that have been raised, as our starter is somewhere in terms of progress. Because what is important is the outcome of this process. It must be free and fair. But at the end of the day, we are honorable members, we are not experts. Then Dr. Tembe, I don't think Parliament up amongst ourselves assist where there are issues and the respect if you are Chair. The Kalba also if you are my yambe legal advisor so that at least we are all comfortable. And all the other honorables that are online, on visual, they are all comfortable as well. Because, colleagues, lento sizawuyenza ngoku izawusenza uba siphinde silale the following day. Because why? There's no trust amongst us. But at the end of the day, all of us, this product will be our product. We must defend it at the end of the day. Whether it's right or wrong, we must all go and defend it out there. Because our interest is the youth of South Africa. They must be able to get access to the NYDA that will deliver to their services. But ukuthi makwenzeke ntoni because of the shit. Umntu advisor. This template is the legal advisor, not us. So that at least all the honorable members on visual, they are also comfortable. And darling ruling Chair, but the Dr. Tembe as a legal advisor of this subcommittee. Thank you very much.
Chairperson, I've raised my hand. Can you hear me?
I think I've raised this with you. In terms of the Act, for purposes of transparency and openness, let each and every member submit his or her score so that the process is transparent on how you've arrived at the 7. So if we decide to take the shortcut of 7, again, we face challenges. So the best and the best method of proceeding with this matter is that each and every member scores to 29. Then the process of consolidation can be done by the staff. So then at least now we say each one has, these are his top 7. Then from there, then you consolidate that actually somebody has got so much maybe scoring from each members, then it will be prioritized according to that. We have like 11 members. So from the 11, maybe somebody got 7 nominations from the scoring. So the basis of everything to proceed here is the score, because this is the most critical stage of the process, because somebody wants to know how has he or she performed during the interviews. If somebody comes to say, I want to know, that is allowed in terms of Section 32 of the Constitution, that is access to information. So the process, actually, the act is clear. The process must be open and transparent. We don't want challenges which are unwarranted, Chair. That is the best advice I can say to this committee. Because if we take shortcuts, definitely there'll be questions which we won't be, because they say, how did you arrive at your top 7? But if everyone can see that from Honorable Mpiti, his top 7 up to 29, from the Honorable Chair, from Honorable Kaul. So then that list is consolidated. Then we've got the top 7 that comes out of the process. So it's in a consensus-seeking manner. Because if the thanks, Chair.
Chair.
Honorable members, I have taken a ruling. What Dr. Tembe is explaining is the same thing that I have said. Let honorable members write their score sheets. Ninayo sintumelele. If candidate is here, write your scores here. The staff members, they will consolidate the scores according to what we are presenting to them and give us the final product. Ukuthi seqeda kusasa, it's another thing. Sizawuqeda kusasa. There's nothing I can do, because yabona the more nifuna ukukhuluma ngabe siyaqeda ngaleso sikhathi leso.
Chairperson, can you hear me?
I don't want this thing to sound as if there is something that we're hiding and so on. No.
Yeah.
Everybody has done scores. We do have them. All what we do, we transfer what we have done to this sheet so that we give our administrative staff to consolidate our final scores. And we're done.
Chairperson.
It's not a secret.
Chairperson, can you allow me? Do you hear me, Chairperson?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, maybe some people would think I'm the most difficult person when it comes to this process. But
sorry?
I said maybe some people will think I'm a very difficult person when it comes to this process, but I want to protect all of us and I want to protect the process. And Chairperson, listen to the legal advisor. The one issue that I picked up that he said is that this whole process must be open and it must be people that you must remember there's a big interest in this process. So I want to agree that all of us did do a scoring. And I also want to agree that not all our members who is on virtual do have the printout now. But my suggestion will be, let's keep the process open for South Africa. Let's keep it open.
What does
Like the legal advisor has said to
I
us
don't
now,
understand.
keep it open.
Chair,
We
it's
don't
open. The process is
understand.
open.
No, Chairperson, please listen what I'm saying. I have listened to the legal advisor when he said, keep the process open. Let all of us must then give our scoring as member PT has proposed in the beginning. Remember, I had a proposal on the table, and member PT had a proposal on the table. So when I listen now to the legal advisor, I think, Chairperson, we must give our scorings from number 1 to number 29, and then the administration must do the calculations and give it to us. But let's keep it an open process, Chairperson. That's my plea. Thank you.
Honorable members, I'm giving you 30 minutes. Finalize your scores according to the way we have resolved, and then we forward our spreadsheet to the administrative staff. We are adjourning now so that honorable members can finalize their scores and then give to administrative member staff. Thank you very much.
Hayi yakudala no. Hathi valid.
Hayi le laptop ihlulwa ile nto ifoni.